Hello and welcome from my little space here in Vienna. My name is Luise. I'm a literature student and writer. Today with a little bit of a different scenery in the back because I'm seated in the little cabinet of my apartment. You had many questions for me, a few that I couldn't answer in the Q&A part 1, so I'm going to tackle... I can tackle those today, and also a few new ones that you ask, especially on my master thesis and my studies coming to an end. One question was, what's your favorite genre? I think this is a little hard because I do read lots of different genres. I love contemporary literature. I also enjoy magical realism, so any stories with magical elements, speculative elements. I would definitely say that fantasy is my comfort genre, but I do read lots of other things. I also love reading classics. I think what I've never dived into is the genre horror. I also have my issues with romance books. I love watching a good romance, but reading a romance can be a little boring for me, or at least I haven't found a romance book that has really catched me, but I'm always open to trying new things. So if you have any cool romance books or horror books that are not too scary, you can recommend them to me. Who is your favorite author? That's obviously a difficult question as well. I don't often read many books by one specific author, so sometimes I only read one book and I'm like, wow, this was really cool. I think this author is absolutely amazing. The first one is Stefan Zweig. He's an Austrian author. I have mentioned him quite a few times. He's also going to be included in my master exam reading list. The second one was Friedrich Dürrenmatt. He's a Swiss author, and everything that I've read from him so far was absolutely brilliant. And the last one has to be a fantasy author, Robin Hobb. I only recently fully discovered her. I knew of her books, but I never read any. She's definitely on the top list with the best fantasy authors that I've read so far. Someone wanted to know my zodiac sign. I am a Sagittarius. That's probably the reason why I love winter so much. I was born in December. People have requested a room tour and also me talking about the art that I have in my room, and I'm definitely going to do that. It's not going to be part of this little Q&A, but I was thinking of, making an extra video where I can describe this a bit. I have promised this before, I think, but I will do it. It's going to take a little bit more time. I probably should clean my room before I do that, but it's going to happen at some point. If you want to publish your writing projects, would you do it through a publisher or self-publishing? I would love to do it with a publisher and not self-publish it. I don't really think I want to handle all the things around publishing a book, also like marketing and promoting your book and things like that. I don't know a lot about self-publishing, so maybe it's not as bad, but I think I would love to try the more traditional route here. I also got questions about my writing process and anything about my creative writing besides all the academic writing that I did so far. I have posted a few videos on a novel project that I've been working for quite a while and some research aspects of it. This project specifically is going to be a historical novel, which I never thought I would dive into. I always thought I would, write some contemporary story or even maybe a fantasy story or something with a little bit of a mixture in there. I don't know. The idea for the story just started to emerge and I felt like, okay, I'm just gonna take it because it's been there for a very long time. You can watch my other video where I talk about the topic of this whole project if that is something you're interested in. I don't really have a particular process. I think I'm rather chaotic when it comes to my writing. So I have lots of different notebooks where I write down things and then I'm like, oh, didn't I already start some ideas that I wrote down somewhere, but then I don't know where. Sometimes I make lots of notes on my laptop. Sometimes I even write some parts on a typewriter when I'm like, this is something that helps me when I'm not very creative or when I feel like I have to shift the perspective a little bit. Since I'm not earning any money with my writing, it's unfortunately not the first priority. I would love to publish a novel project one day. Absolutely, I'm very determined, but I don't know if it's in the cards. I have published some small short stories, and one person also asked if there is anything you guys could read. I think there is only one short story that is available online. It's in German, so if you speak German, I can write down what it's called and where you can find find it so you can have a look. I was mostly focusing on short stories, and writing a whole novel always felt very intimidating, and I've only recently found the courage to really stick to one thing. I think it's very hard because I question my ideas so much, and also the things that I'm interested in change all the time. But what helped me a lot was National Novel Writing Month. It is every year in November, and there are people all over the world who take time in November to finish a novel project. I think the goal is to write 50,000 words or something like that. And it really helps to know that you are not the only one doing this, but there are other people as well. One last thing about my creative writing. Also, I think that was a question, if I know what's behind it or why I love writing so much. I am a creative person, but I think this is the best way for me to express myself. This is my outlet. I don't love being on a stage, but as soon as I have my text in front of me, I know I just have to read that and I'll be fine. And then all of a sudden I feel quite excited about it, and I have a lot of fun reading my texts out loud, and I've done that quite a few times, and this is really cool. And I think it's just the easiest way to, I don't know, handle my emotions and things I experience. The next one is, are you more of an introvert or an extrovert? I'm definitely more an introvert. And I think the platform YouTube holds a lot of space for introverted people, because you can really have a voice without feeling intimidated by speaking to a large group of people. On that regard, someone wanted to know my favorite YouTubers. It's Christy Ann Jones. She's talking about literature and creative writing and everything around that topic. She's Australian. And the second one that I can always watch is Rachel Maxey. She is one of the first people who really got me into vintage style clothing, even though her own style has shifted a bit and she's now mostly doing cosplay content. But she's so funny. I've watched her for a long time now, so you can check her out. Let's move on to some questions from my academic situation and what comes next, because a lot of you wanted to know what are my plans for the future. And to be honest, I don't know yet. I have handed in my master thesis, as I talked about in my last video, was my submission vlog. And now I'm waiting for my grade, and I still have to do my master exam. And then I'm hoping to continue working at the public library for a little bit of time. But this is not a long-term solution. It's not enough hours for me to pay my life. And also the contract is limited. I think I'm just gonna send in application into all directions, like any place where literature plays a role, where readings are organized and things like that. I could also do another education to become a full librarian, but this is rather time consuming and also costs a lot, so I don't know yet. I would also love to pursue YouTube a little bit more and integrate it more into my life, but right now I'm not really earning much from it other than a few donations here and there, and I haven't really been able to do it as regularly to really keep it going, you know. Someone asked if I want to do a PhD. It has definitely crossed my mind, but I'm not sure if I'm up for it, because it's a whole other level than doing a bachelor or a master. You really need to love academics to do this and go through with it. I think first I want to finish my master and then make any other decisions. I could totally imagine to do another master or another bachelor of some sort, but more besides working and more for the fun of it. It's a bit of an uncertain time right now, but it's also beautiful that I have so many options and ideas of what I could be doing in the future. Another question was on my master exam and the Defensio. This is one big exam situation, kind of. The first part is going to be me defending my master thesis. I will get questions on it, and then we move on to the second part. This is all with my supervisor, and she will also ask me questions on a topic that is close to my thesis but not within my thesis, and I have a reading list for that. I chose exile literature, and then there is another part where I also have a reading list for a topic that is far away from my thesis, has nothing to do with it. I'm going with contemporary literature from 1990 up until today, and it's all with the focus on Austrian literature because that's what my master is all about. And then there is a last part that is with a different professor with a whole different subject, and I chose linguistics, specifically sociolinguistics. It's quite a lot, and it's going to be an oral exam, so that will be another challenge for me. The next one is quite interesting. If there is anything in my master or bachelor, the way literature is taught, that I think is problematic, there are several things that come to mind. So the first thing is that I still have many professors who focus on a very traditional canon, and that means that not many women are discussed. We are now at a point in research and academics where we know of so many female writers that lived and worked back in the days. I think it's lazy not to include them and mention them. There is definitely a shift, and you can see that it's evolving and professors are mentioning them a lot more. But when I started, it was still not the norm, which I think is sad. Another thing is the comparative literature bachelor. I think it's amazing. I would definitely do it again. But since it is very broad, you have a hard time to really specialize on something. I often got the question, but what's your focus in your studies? And I was like, I don't know, one semester there's a professor offering a seminar on, I don't know, Japanese poetry, and the next semester you talk about literature after the Holocaust. And, you know, it's not limited to any language, it's not limited to a time period, which is amazing, and also sort of the positive side of these studies. But it is also difficult to gain expertise on one specific topic and to feel like, okay, this is something where I actually know quite a lot. And one thing that I find very problematic in general, it has nothing to do with literature, bachelor or master, but it is the way credits are counted that you get for each course that you do. Here in Vienna, we have the ECTS system, and it is extremely random, even though they tell you it's not. And they have their system, how they count it, like how many hours of work one ECTS equals. But let me tell you, it doesn't always make sense. I've had seminars where people from a different department did the same course as me and got more ECTS because that was just what it said in their curriculum, and I got less ECTS for it, even though we had the exact same workload. So it can be a little unfair, and it's also difficult to really plan how much time you need because most people don't study in the minimum time. I also don't know who is able to write a master thesis within one semester. So all of these parameters of how long you study and how much credits you get for one course, how much workload it is sometimes really weird and unrealistic, especially when you have to work besides studying because you have to earn money to support yourself. That's something I struggle with a lot. Shifting to a few more random questions. What country would you really love to visit and why? I would love to go back to Norway. I've been there once, made quite a big trip with my parents through the whole country. I did learn Norwegian, but I never visited since I learned the language, and I would love to go there again to actually use it. And honestly, any country where someone is excited about, I will probably get excited as well. But there is, I mean, it's not a country, it's a continent. I would love to go to Antarctica one day. Yeah, I don't know if this is ever going to happen, especially because it's a bit controversial going there as a tourist and not actually, you know, going there for science or anything. But it's always been a dream of mine ever since I got excited about penguins when I was really young, and yeah, it also fits my love for winter. The next one is a really cool question. It's, if you could turn into a character from a book, who would it be and why? Of course, what is the name of the book? So I think I have to put a little bit more thought into this question. But for now, my answer would be, I would want to be a very unimportant side character in Harry Potter so that I can experience the beautiful world without getting traumatized or die every single school year. That would be beautiful. Yeah, I would love that. At the moment, who is your favorite Austrian writer if you have one? I'm not sure if I have one, but someone I only recently fully discovered, also because of my master exam, is Michael Köhlmeier. And I think he's such a good storyteller. I read the book Das Philosophenschiff, Das Mädchen mit dem Fingerhut, which is probably my favorite one so far, and Frankie. So I can highly recommend his work. Can you suggest a few bookshops in Vienna that one should definitely visit? And maybe a few bookish places in Vienna. There is a Shakespeare company in Vienna, which is really cool. I think the original one is in Paris, and we also have one in Vienna. It's beautiful. You can get English books there, so that's really great. Then there are a few book cafes that are really lovely. Book Nook is rather new, and they have mostly cozy literature, and it's really just beautiful. You can sit in the window and just have a tea or a coffee. Then there is Café Phil. It's often quite crowded, but it is very lovely. They have a huge collection of books and a large space to drink coffee, eat a little snack or something. Another lovely book cafe is Pour Café Mélange. It recently changed their location and I haven't been to the new one, but I think it's as cute as the old one was. Queer bookstores here in Vienna with a beautiful range of literature are Chicklit, it's in the first district, and O Books, but O Books is quite far outside, so if you're only visiting, the journey there is probably a bit long. And bookish places that I can recommend is the National Library. They have a beautiful hall. There is always an exhibition. It's quite cool to visit. And the Literature Museum, if you speak German, you can also visit that. Do you have any tips to build creativity for writing? There is this saying of filling the creative well, and I think that's quite true. Just doing things that really make you feel inspired, I guess. For me, it's often listening to music, going to concerts, and going out into nature, just really doing something where my mind can wander a little bit. Maybe it's drawing for you or going to a cafe. I don't know. What always helps me is to sit down, take time for writing even when I'm not feeling inspired, even though when it feels more like I have to force myself, because sometimes beautiful things can emerge out of that. I also think it's vital to read a lot of different books and look for what are the styles in there, what language do they use, not copy them obviously, but find inspiration in there. And I think it's also important to every once in a while be in exchange with other writers and creative people. And what was very beneficial for me was going to literature workshops and, feedback groups. And in the back of my mind, I have this idea of creating a little online writing club, maybe not necessarily for feedback because I mostly write in German and I'm not feeling 100% comfortable to giving feedback on English texts. It's just not my mother tongue, but to find space and time for writing and also, just have a little community and maybe some inspirational prompts or something, because prompts are always very helpful as well. So if you are stuck or maybe you just want to write a little thing but you don't know where to start, Google writing prompts, and I think that's also a very good tool. So this idea has been on my mind for a while, but I don't know how to execute it really. Also, without making it a lot of work and not really getting much out from it, because I think it would probably be a minority of people who would actually want to join at this point, also because the channel is rather small. But yeah, I don't know. It's been on my mind and maybe one day I can make it happen. Is it possible to have a part-time job in a library while studying in Vienna and be financially stable? It depends on how many hours you work. At the public library, the maximum that you can work as an assistant are 16 hours, and I would say that is not enough to cover all the expenses that you have. Maybe you're lucky and you find a place where you can do more hours, but I think it's challenging when you're only an assistant and when you don't have the education. But I guess there are places where it is possible. It's just probably with a lot of luck that you get in. Another question was also if you can do 2 studies at the same time. I would say yes. A lot of people do it, but it's obviously more challenging. It takes more time, and for me it wasn't possible to finish the studies in the minimum time. It took me a bit longer. Here in Austria you have a certain semester that are for free, and then you get 2 extra semester as like a tolerance where you still don't have to pay, but after that you have a fee around, I don't know how much it is right now, it's a couple €100. Probably a bit late. I should have answered this at the beginning, but what is your history in terms of university? What did you study? When did you realize it's right for you? Are you happy with it? And what's next? So I already answered what might be next. And my history of university is I started off with English and American studies, which was not for me. I think I only did it for 2-3 semesters, something around that. Then I changed to comparative literature. I didn't know that this was an actual study, but I really fell in love with it and it was the best decision. During that time, I found the Scandinavian department, also started a bachelor in Scandinavian studies, which I also really love. The linguistic parts of the studies were quite challenging for me, and I also still have one exam that I have to do on language history. And then last but not least, my master degree, which is provided by the German department, and it is called Austrian Studies. So literature, language, history, culture, everything, but with an Austrian focus. I would say I'm definitely very happy with all the choices I made because I did so many different things and were able to, get a glimpse into so many different departments, which was beautiful. What inspired you to choose your thesis theme? So I wrote on female authorship in the Viennese modernism, on production and publication conditions for Rosa Mayreder, Emily Mataya, and Else Jerusalem. It took me quite a long time to finalize the specific topic. I had a few seminars that tackled this time of period, so this was something that has always interested me. And then I felt like, I think the male authors have had enough attention. Let's dig out a few female authors that are not discussed that much, and that is how this topic came to be. How was the journey? How did it change you as a person? The journey was ups and downs. I had so many moments where I was questioning everything. I was like, what are you doing? It's so exhausting. I had a really hard time to balance everything, like the time working on the thesis and time to take off, because technically you can take Monday till Sunday to work on it 24/7, and you have to make your own schedule. That was really hard. But what I've learned, or I think where it might have changed me a bit, is a certain level of confidence that I didn't have before. I still don't have my grade yet, so I don't know how it actually turned out. But for my personal experience, it was cool to see all the things that I can do and manage at the same time, and also gain a little bit more academic confidence, because often I felt like an imposter in a lot of seminars because, there's always someone who's able to articulate themselves a little bit better and who can put their thoughts into words better. And sometimes I felt like I can't keep up with that, especially because I'm a very slow reader, and tackling all the reading lists was really difficult for me. But with my master thesis, it's the first time that I really feel like more confident just saying that I do all of this and that I worked in the academic field, I guess. What are the rewards and the challenges of choosing an intellectual life? Well, some of it that I've already said, with probably always feeling like an imposter because you can always read more and be more educated. And I think the beauty of it is that you just learn to look at things from so many different perspectives and to really open yourself up for being critical and question things, not only in intellectual life, but also in daily life. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Okay, another question was where I find the music for my videos, and I only use the stuff that is available on YouTube, where you don't need a license or anything, or where you don't have to pay anything. As simple as that. I sometimes would love to use a bit more elaborate music styles, a bit more variety, but it's for free and very simple to use. You just download it and you don't have to pay anything, so that's really nice. What kind of music do you like? Do you have a favorite group or performer, and what is your favorite film or movie, or top 5? And I think this was also an older question. What is your top 5 movies that you love the most? I listen to a lot of indie. I love rock, I love folk, I love a little bit of a mixture, alternative stuff, sometimes a little bit of pop, also, classics from the 70s, the 80s, or whatever. Also love classical music as well. Love going to concerts. And I would say my top 3 performers that I absolutely love are Mando Diao. I've listened to them since I was a teenager. Also Ben Howard. I think he's a very incredible musician. And the third one, let's go with Lana Del Rey, because she has accompanied me for a very long time as well, even though sometimes I don't understand her lyrics and they tend to get a little bit weird and confusing, but I love her music. What can I say? For movies, there are quite a few that came to mind. The Banshees of Inisherin, if that's how you pronounce it. I saw it with my mom in the cinema, and I was quite impressed by that movie, even though I'm not sure if I want to rewatch it because it was quite disgusting at times, but I think from storytelling and filmmaking and acting, it was so special and interesting. Highly recommend, but you need to be okay with some very graphic scenes when it comes to violence. Any film by Wes Anderson, I love his style so much, especially Moonrise Kingdom and Isle of Dogs. Then there is a film from my childhood, which definitely has some sentimental value. I'm not sure what the English title is. Die Kinder des Monsieur Mathieu. I think it's a French film. It's an incredibly beautiful, touching story. Then a classic, Dirty Dancing. I could watch this movie over and over again. I carried a watermelon. Best line ever. That's more than 5 movies, but there is a film that I watched at, I think, the Vienna Film Festival. It's called And Then We Danced. It's a queer dance film from Georgia in Europe, and it's very moving, very beautiful. Then Down by Law, my dad introduced me to this film. I've watched it a couple of times since, and I think it's so brilliant. And also one last film, and then I'm gonna shut up about all the films that I love. Kill Your Darlings with Daniel Radcliffe. It's incredible. It's a gay romance, but very sad and intense, and wow, just beautiful. I also wrote down a few series that's not asked, but I'm gonna give you the answer anyways. I'm just gonna drop the names and you do with it whatever you want. I can highly recommend each of them. Alias Grace, also one of my favorite books by Margaret Atwood. Twin Peaks, The Sandman, Euphoria, but only season 1 and 2. I don't think I want to watch season 3. I don't know what happened there. Umbrella Academy, The Magicians, Downton Abbey, Queen's Gambit, Flesh and Bone, which is a very intense dance series, very graphic as well. Big Little Lies, and last but not least, the Netflix series Made is very heavy, but the topics are so important and the acting is incredible. And favorite books, I would say E.T.A. Hoffmann, The Sandman. It's so incredible. Margaret Atwood, Alias Grace. I think I should sit down and make a proper list for that because my brain is completely blank at the moment. Do you see yourself living in Vienna or Austria in general in the future? If not, then why? I can totally see myself living here in Vienna. I can also see myself moving back to the town I grew up, or at least the area, which is in Salzburg or around the city Salzburg. And I love Vienna for the city it is, but I also love my hometown area for all the nature, and my family would be closer. So yeah, it's kind of, I'm very torn on that. I will definitely stay in Austria, at least long-term speaking, because I can't be far away from family and friends. What are the 3 things you love most about Vienna? This also fits the previous question. I would say architecture and the coffee house culture, and in general, all the different activities you can do. You have nature close by. You also have so many cultural things going on all the time, which I think is beautiful. And Vienna is a very unique city in Austria because there is nothing that is similar to it, because every city in Austria is so much smaller. So it's very unique. What is, in your opinion, a degree that is a must for every writer to have? None, honestly. You can write no matter what previous experience you have. I think it's important to be open to many different topics, but you don't need to have any kind of education, especially not academic. How did you get the idea of starting a YouTube channel? I felt like there are so many topics that I'm interested in and that I would love to share with an audience. And it was also a time where I was a little bit frustrated with my creative output and the things that I can produce. And I felt like, let's just try it and see where it goes. Those were a lot of questions. I hope I didn't miss anything that you were super excited to get the answer to, but keep the questions coming. I can always do another Q&A. Thank you so much for being here. Especially thank you on all the super lovely comments on my last video where I submitted my master thesis. That was really beautiful to read. And now it is time to finish my tea, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Or maybe more previous question.